My 34M stepdaughter, Nen19F, and I are very close. Her boyfriend, 20TM, doesn't like that. Alright, so let's get the obvious out of the way. Yes, she calls me dad. I've been in her life since she was 11. Yes, the age difference is weird for a lot of people. My wife is 40 and she had a kid. Sue me. Lastly, I am in no way attracted to my daughter. She's a pretty girl, but that's my kid. This is not a fetish post. Now we can begin. My daughter and I are very close. She'd never had a decent male figure in her life at the time I met her, and I knew that if I wanted to pursue a relationship with my now wife, that I should do everything I could to fill the role, so I did. I helped with homework, I played games with her, watched shows or YouTubers she was into, read her favorite books, etc. Because I wanted to build a solid relationship with her. Turns out, if you treat things like they're important, sometimes they go well. She and I spend a lot of time together, and our family doesn't really have big touch barriers, so hugs, cheek kisses, sometimes she'll use me as a pillow, etc. All of this is very common, and she does the same with my wife. I love you is said probably 50 plus times a day in my house. We are affectionate. That's the picture I'm trying to paint here. Very recently, she started dating. Her boyfriend doesn't appreciate that we're comfortable with expressing our affection toward each other, even going so far as to ask me to tone it down when he's around. In private, my daughter doesn't know this yet. I want to respect my daughter's new relationship because this is a new and exciting thing for her, and I'm genuinely happy for her, but I also don't want to lose the connection I've spent so long building, and I don't think I should be made to pretend it's less important to me just because she's dating someone that happens to be a little insecure. I can understand where the guy is coming from, but I don't think he really has a right to interject here. The dilemma is this: should I tone it down as requested? Should I continue on as normal? Or should I tell my daughter about the request and let her handle it however she sees fit? Honestly, not sure what the right move is. I should make it clear that I do not initiate the majority of physical contact in my household. I initiate probably 20%-ish with my stepdaughter, maybe 40% with my wife. This particular thing happened after she asked me what I wanted from a restaurant I hadn't been to. I asked to see the menu, and instead of throwing her literal brand new phone, she hopped in my lap and handed it to me, made suggestions, etc. This is totally in line with how we act normally. Edit 2. A lot of people are getting stuck on the lap thing, so let me be perfectly clear here. I don't ever initiate this. It is always on her. If she's comfortable with it, I'm comfortable with her. Because of this, the second she stops being comfortable, it'll never happen again. I am also aware this is outside what many people would consider to be the norm. If you fall into this category, I already hear you, and I do not care. That wasn't the point of the post, though it seems like we've gone a ways past that already, LMAO. And whether you think it's creepy or whatever else is irrelevant to us, the people who are participating. Update 1. I spoke with my daughter the next evening after she came home from work. Her boyfriend was at the house at the time. He was over for dinner and had picked her up. I pulled her aside for a couple of minutes and let her know what happened. She was surprised, because she's already had this talk with her boyfriend. She said she'd handle it and left. A little while later, I called them in for dinner. After she finished eating, she confronted him. I'm paraphrasing because she told a story, but this is basically what she said. So my dad told me what you said, and I wanted to wait until after dinner to bring it up. I didn't have a good childhood. My biological father treated my mom horribly, and after she left him, he never contacted me again. Her next big relationship was worse. It seemed fine on the outside, but there was a lot of emotional abuse and controlling behavior. I was caught up in it too. Then this guy came along. I was obviously skeptical at first. He looked like trouble to me. He was making my mom happy, but I was an icy bitch to him because bad men were all I'd ever known. He asked me questions for over a year trying to get to know me, and I shut him out. One day when I was reading, he asked what book it was. I didn't even answer him. I just lifted it up so he could see the cover. It was Island of Shipwrecks in the Unwanted series. He said, "That looks pretty cool, what's it about?" And for the millionth time, I didn't answer. Maybe 2 weeks later, he asked me if I was finished with the book. I said, "Yeah, why?" And he said, "Well, I read the other 5. I thought you might let me borrow it so I can catch up and we can talk about it." I thought he was lying through his teeth, so I asked him questions about plot points and characters. Not a single wrong answer. I went to my room and got the book for him. It's kind of a dumb story, but you have to understand something. My dad is the first man who was ever nice to me, and I gave him plenty of reasons not to be. He was patient and thoughtful and never pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I will always be grateful for that. Bottom line is that I love my dad, and the only people who have a say in our relationship is us. If you feel threatened because we're close, that's not going away, ever. I like you, I have fun with you. But if you think I'll change my relationship with my dad for you, then you've made a mistake. If you're too insecure to handle the fact that I'm close to my dad, this isn't going to work out. If you can handle it, I would love to have you around. Otherwise, he kind of interrupted her here and said, "It's not just because you're close. I get that he's been good to you and your mom. And that's great. But have you seen the guy?" He kind of interrupted her here and said, "It's not just because you're close. I get that he's been good to you and your mom, and that's great. But have you seen the guy?" "Yes. What about it?" It just makes it really weird for me. I don't know how to explain it other than that. You're way closer to your dad than anyone I've ever met, and it's a little creepy when you take into account he looks like he could be a "what are you doing stepdaughter" guy. Look, there's apparently 2 people at this table. For context, it was the 2 of them, my wife and myself at the table, who think my dad is fuckable, and it's really weird that you're one of them. Choosing time is over. The door is that way. Do not call or text me anymore. So that's pretty much how it went down. After he left, she cried for a few hours in her room. When she finally came out, it was around midnight or so, and she sat next to me on the couch. I asked her if she was worried this would be a constant problem, and if she wasn't comfortable with how things are. I can understand and respect that. She hugged me very tightly and just replied, "Don't be dumb." So I guess everything is all right. I also thought it was kind of funny, disrespectful but funny, that she had this big story planned out. I got some rom-com vibes from it personally, but it was her first boyfriend, so she has no experience having big talks, and the guy just completely disregarded it. Obviously, empathy and understanding are not his strong points. I feel bad for my daughter because it was her first relationship, but I definitely think she dodged a bullet. Update 2. Stuff to clarify. Obviously, a lot of the dialogue isn't exact. I did the best I could with what I remembered, but it's a little hard to be 100% accurate. I tried to convey the overall sentiment more than the exact words. As far as the physical affection that goes around, I don't particularly care if people found it weird. I am comfortable with my family acting how they're most comfortable. That's all there really is to it. I'm also not sure why it's weird that I'm tall, attractive, or have a physical passion. I never claimed to be average, but somehow the fact that I very clearly stated that I'm 100% a trophy husband is totally unbelievable. I'm not incredibly smart, and not particularly funny, so all I have going for me is that I'm hot. Sue me. Update. My stepdaughter and her boyfriend have since gotten back together, and the physical nature of her showing affection has slowed considerably. She no longer sits in my lap, but she will still lean on me occasionally when we're watching shows, etc. I suppose she has determined new boundaries, which I am more than happy to accept, particularly because I am never on the initiating side anyhow. I only ever wanted her to be comfortable with me, and however she chooses to express that is fine by me. Her boyfriend is a nice enough guy, and I kind of hope he sticks around. He seems to treat her with respect and kindness, which is all I can really ask for. So many people are skeptical of me in general, but I suppose I get it. It's not often that people make legitimate efforts to improve themselves, the way they treat people, or how they are viewed by others. So when people like that present themselves, I can understand being cynical or even mean. Plus, it's Reddit. It could just all be made up. In the end, I don't care if you believe or not, it's irrelevant to me. Despite the sarcasm in the title, it's pretty accurate. In a 6'5" blacksmith, though I don't claim to be great at it, who happens to be a kick-ass dad, an amazing partner, and my family uses me as a pillow. I'm not perfect, but I definitely give it my best effort.